Passion our purpose, profit our pain. I don't want my name to ever be in vain. A life full of substance is the only thing that will remain the same. Millennial thoughts. Welcome back, and thank you all for, coming and listening to a new episode of Millennial Thoughts with your girl Alicia. I know it's been a while. I've been sick, been under the weather, and grad school is taking me by a storm. But it's okay. And technology. It's okay. We're going to get through this, and we're going to be Gucci. So, hope y'all had a great Valentine's Day. This episode is coming out late this week because I know everybody has been doing things for Valentine's Day and been busy and things like that. So, shout out to Love for all that. And hopefully y'all had a great day. Hopefully you're going to have a prosperous weekend. So it's Friday. I know y'all excited because it's about to be the weekend, or if some of y'all are like me, y'all about to be working still all weekend. But either way it goes, get this money, get this rest, whatever you need, get it this weekend. And today we are going to do another episode like last week. Hopefully y'all, if y'all like that, let me know. We're so close to 1,000 listens, so with this episode, hopefully I'll reach that goal. We will be talking about motivation today, and I have a guest that I'll introduce later on the show. But first, our millennial mogul has got to be the one and only. Y'all know the one and only Cardi B. Like, occur, yes, whatever y'all want to say about her. I just feel like she was nominated for a Grammy. She got her Grammy. She works hard out here, and she has literally proven herself in the music industry. And shout out to her for getting her first Grammy on her basically first album. That was pretty dope. And I think she deserves to be the millennial mogul. And I believe she goes into this conversation of we're talking about being motivated and having motivation. She was motivated. She's had the same energy, kept the same energy the whole entire time, even though things happen and stuff like that. But she's always been motivated. She said she wanted to come and do this music stuff. She's grinding hard. She works hard. And so I think this weekend, or maybe this year, we should just take a little bit of Cardi's motivation, and we should, shine like her, grind like her, and maybe we can have a year like her. If you want a year like her, I don't know if everybody want a year like her, but as being on the top and being on the grind and things like that. So as we swing into our millennial thought of the day, we will be talking about motivation. And stay tuned to hear the rest of the show. Back with another episode. It is Black History Month, so shout out to that. And so also it is the second month of the year, and we know some people are lacking motivation, or they just might be motivated, but we don't want them to, be unmotivated for the rest of the year or start it off now. So some people are graduating, some people are trying to write, read, do whatever. So we just want to keep the motivation going, and we want to have a discussion about how we stay motivated, and just give some tips about it. So today I have my lovely co-host Candace, who I met through Twitter, and we're just going to talk about tips and how we stay motivated. So yes, welcome, Candace.
Thank you. Hey everyone. So yes, I'm Candace. I am a millennial from North Carolina. And I am a podcaster as well. I host Marathi Mentors, where I just talk to different like female artists or creatives, as we say. And I work as a college advisor and a freelance writer. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yay, so we thank her for joining us in the conversation. Well, me, but So first we want to talk about what is motivation, like the definition, all in all around.
Yeah. So like what I've always known, or like from just looking it up, is like motivation is basically just like a desire or like a willingness to like do something. And I feel like it's such a vague thing at times, and I feel like that's probably why it comes and goes, because it's just, I mean, if we're being honest with ourselves, we all have days where we just don't want to do anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely true. Yeah, I always see
Yeah.
like every time I start a week, they're like Motivation Monday. You know, there's quotes and there's things like that. So I do see that every Monday. It's like, oh yes, Motivation
Mhm.
Monday. Okay, quotes and different things like that. But yeah, some people do lack motivation. And I think you can lack motivation in one area of your life and be motivated in a different part of your life. Because that's me right now.
Yes, definitely. I have that all the time. It's like sections of your life where it's just like no one has to tell you to do anything. Like everything's great, and then you get to a different portion of your life and you just don't even want to touch it. That happens to me all the time.
And then yeah, sometimes I get so motivated and it's like, oh my gosh, it's overwhelming. Like right now I'm motivated to like graduate, but it's like I'm unmotivated to like do the work to graduate. So like that's like, okay, well, like I'm motivated
Exactly.
here, but I'm trying to be motivated to do that. So but I think
Yeah.
I am overall motivated. So I just think of like the end goal. Like, oh, I'm about to graduate, I'm about to move, and I'm about to like start a career. So I think like that motivates me, like the unknown and like where am I going. Also, that's not that to say that that's not scary, but I think that's what motivates me the most. It's like I'm about to graduate, I'm about to really start this life, and you just don't like know what's next, you know.
Yeah, and yeah, I think you bring up a good point too, like the aspect you said of like being motivated to graduate, but maybe not like do the work or an assignment right now. And I even look at myself sometimes if I have whether it's like something at work or like a story or something I'm writing, like a personal project. I always I tend to be like more like a big picture thinker where like I'm always thinking about the end goal. And I think sometimes it can be hard, even if you find yourself as being someone who is motivated or like is ambitious, it can be really hard to translate that to like all the little steps that it takes to get there, if that makes sense.
Oh yes, like the execution of it. Oof.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the execution is not my strong point. But I would say that I feel like I am motivated. Mostly just because it's like, oh my gosh, like I'm finally done with school. Like I can live my life. I don't have to worry about that. But I get you on like the personal project. It's like, oh, I like to write. Like, oh, I'm writing something. So it's like I'm motivated to keep writing that thing. But then it's like, but I'm not motivated to write this paper for class. So I think that's just like the ins and outs of everything. But that could just, be life as a millennial. I feel like millennials, like we are motivated to do certain things, and then like we're not motivated to do different things, which that could just be life. But I feel like millennials, like I feel like the generation maybe like are like go getters and like, oh, I'm motivated to like make this money, like secure this bag, but like I'm not motivated to like do this job.
Yeah, and I think it's that way too because I feel like our generation we have everything is by sight. Like we have like social media obviously and just I don't know, all these images around us that are always like I guess whether we mean to or not, it is always showing kind of like the end result because it is showing, the job, the house, the car, like whatever the ultimate goal is. So you don't see behind the scenes, you don't see everything it takes to get there. You're constantly being bombarded with these images of goals of like what you want to do. So you tend to always be like, I want that. And then your mind is just like completely skipping everything that gets you there. And then that causes just a whole nother round of problems because it's like, I want that, but I don't know how, nor do I feel like doing everything to get to that point.
Oh yeah, I definitely understand what you're saying. I see that it's like you're motivated because you see that, oh my gosh, that's a cool house, but like you don't know like what they did, what they had to do, where they had to go to be able, or like what they had to sacrifice to be able to get that. And I think that goes into it with motivation too. It's like what motivates you and what keeps you going. So in a sense, like yes, like I'm motivated to graduate because I want to do this, but like what also motivates me to keep me going is like I know that I want like better for myself, or like I know I want to have like money. I know I want to be like financially stable. Like I love stability, and so that also motivates me
Mm-hmm.
too. So like how there's like intrinsic and like extrinsic or whatever motivation. Like I feel like you have to step back and think like what inside of you motivates you to do this. What do you want to do at the end of this? you know, year or
Exactly.
like at the end of this
Exactly.
month. I think that we people should think about that more and things like that. And maybe not most more such like the outside of appearance of the different things. Like I mean the houses and the cars, or whatever. Like that's nice, but like what is inside of you that motivates you, that keeps you going?
Exactly. Yeah. I think that's yeah, I really think you hit the nail on the head because it's one thing to want a thing or to, try to like break down a goal into steps, but it's another thing to really identify like what it is that you're going to get out of it or like, if it's like, oh, I want a house because I want to feel secure or I want my degree because I want to be proud of myself or whatever it is, like if you know those internal reasons, then you have a bigger, I guess in a way you feel a little bit more responsible to yourself to get these things done instead of just looking at a thing that you could easily be like, I don't really care about it that much.
True, true. What do you think keeps you motivated to like do what you're doing, like the writing or like your job or something like that? Like what keeps you motivated?
I think a big thing for me is I try to keep in front of me like what my values are personally and what's important to me. So like for instance, writing, I know like I'm always gonna write. Like I've written since I was a kid. Like I just do it naturally. But there's obviously times when I either I'm tired or I just get discouraged and I feel like it's too hard. Like nobody cares what I'm reading. I mean, to read what I'm writing, it's too difficult. But when I have moments like that, I really ask myself like, what's important to you? Like, what do you want out of life? And I'll say like, well, what's important is that like I'm always writing. What's important is that I'm doing something that I can be proud of. That one day, people can look back and be like, oh, she left something in the world. Or if I have kids, like, mom didn't like give up on her dreams like everybody else. So I always try to think of what's my ultimate value, like what's something that means more to me than anything else. And if I feel like my current actions or like my current lifestyle isn't supporting that, then I tell myself, okay, make a change. Even if it's really small, I just like say I have to change something to get closer to that.
And so that's something that's like inside of you that you use to keep you motivated. I like that. That was really good. Would you give like any, I guess, any tips or suggestions for people who are lacking motivation to help them, you know, start fresh and keep it moving?
Yeah, I would tell you to have something, and I hate to use this word because I feel like everyone uses it, but accountability is like seriously, it's definitely like underrated. And I know we say it all the time, but and I mean that in terms of sometimes if you don't have motivation, you really do need something, you need a deadline. Like
Hmm.
all of us, we always talk about, oh, if I have a paper that's due in a month, like we know we're not going to work on it, but if we know it's due, 5 hours from now and we're going to get an F if we don't do it, we're going to finish the paper.
Hmm.
And so a lot of times I think we have to create those kind of deadlines for ourselves. So I think either it's important to either share your goals with somebody that you trust who's like not going to judge you for it either way, who can like check in with you or create something that is kind of deadline oriented. Like sometimes for myself, if I haven't written in a while, I might go up and I'll find like a magazine or like a contest and I'll be like, oh, I'd love to enter that, next winter. And I'll tell myself, like, okay, I'm going to write a short story or something. I may not even enter the competition, I may not, but the whole point is to say, like, I want to produce something that I could submit at that point.
Hmm.
So I think like just tying your goals into maybe something else, an atmosphere that's like deadline oriented can push you to start moving. Even if you don't end up like doing any of it, just it gets you going.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with that too. That happened to me too. I've like seen something that I wanted to enter, and I was like, oh, okay, I need to do this. I need to get this done, and I was able to get it done by a certain time just to try it, just to see. But definitely accountability. And so, when you hear motivation, do you feel like procrastination could stop us from being motivated, or do you think like our it can get in the way of our motivation? Procrastination.
I think that I think procrastination is a big part of it because I think that like a lot of times procrastination all ties into it because it's like, oh, I want to do something, but we procrastinate because we don't feel like it, or we think it's really hard, or we know something is difficult, or there might be a roadblock and we don't totally feel like dealing with it or facing that emotion, so we just like do something else. So I think that it plays a big part in our willingness to like do the work, because if we're caught up in how hard it is or that something might go wrong, you're going to lose motivation really fast. And I think the key is you have to know what your priorities are,
Mm-hmm.
and just keep telling yourself that those priorities are more important than the obstacles that are going to get in the way.
Oh yes, that's true. I definitely like that. I think if my people are out there, if they're lacking motivation, also I you all can like maybe look at your goals again, or maybe think of your end goal and what you want to do. So if it is like, oh, I'm graduating in May, or like, oh, I'm trying to get a promotion, just like keep that piece of motivation within you. And I think just like reminding it like every day, like if you're unmotivated, like, oh my gosh, I'm about to graduate, oh my gosh, I'm about to get a promotion, like just reminding yourself every day of like why you're getting up, what you're doing, and having that in your mind will help you get through these times and these troubles of like lacking motivation, I would say. Or like also, find uplifting content, like, listen to podcasts, like listen to sermons, read a book or something like that, like to help you stay motivated and help you stay in tune with yourself. I think that can help with the lack and motivation. But some people who aren't, unmotivated, for the people who are motivated easily, let us know. Like, tell us some things that you all do and some things that you think can help other people and our listeners and things like that. Because I feel like in this day and age, like people kind of like motivation so like willingly, like they like it, but then also that could be like procrastination, and they could lead into like not believing in their self, and so they might just lack motivation because they don't know like how good their content is, what they're doing, or like how good whatever they're trying to work towards may be. So I think that could be like a sense of where people can lack motivation and not feeling like they're good enough for
I would
what.
I would definitely agree. I think that a lot of motivation does sometimes come from like having doubts about yourself or like being concerned. And I know you mentioned like reading or listening to things, and I love to do that. Like I love to, this is probably like super corny of me, but I love to like go and read people's, especially like famous people's like Wikipedia
Mm-hmm.
pages. This is so weird.
Yo.
But I just love like hearing people's stories and being like, "Oh my gosh, like that person like didn't lived in their car or didn't have a house or like whatever." Like that gives me so much
Mm-hmm.
motivation when I see other people that I admire came from like situations that are similar to me or something like that. It's like, okay, I can do this. Like it's cool. I'm not behind.
I know, I know. Self doubt, I feel like, is a really big thing, and that could be like a whole nother conversation. But when you said the Wikipedia, like last semester, like when I used to listen to the Breakfast Club and stuff like that. When I listened to like interviews, I would literally go on Wikipedia, like I'm like looking up them, like what I'm looking up, like well, there was a comedian, oh, like Sherry, is it Sherry Underwood, Sherry or
Yeah.
something like that. I don't know. But like her, I looked at her and like seeing where she came from. Like I think I looked at Monique's, but I look at like Oprah Winfrey's, like whoever came on the Breakfast Club. I'm like, oh my gosh, how did they get to where they got? Like, DC Young Fly. I don't know if you watch Wilder now, but like looking at their Wikipedia pages and stuff, it's like, oh my goodness, are finding out like who the first person who had the first like the first woman who had her television show, talk show. I forgot her name now, but that paved the way for like Oprah and like, Maya Angelou, like her poetry and stuff like that. Like looking at people's story and seeing how they was raised, that really is inspiration, and that motivates me. Like, oh, if they could do it, I could do it. Like Ava DuVernay, like she didn't even pick up a camera or something like that till she was like 35, and now she's like out here.
Exactly.
Like, oh, I looked up Lena Waves, I looked up Yvonne's, like Lovey's, like I looked up all those people. These are people who I love and admire, y'all, and I listen to their podcasts and stuff. But yeah, and they have TV shows. But yeah, like I see what that is too. Like maybe that could be motivation, like looking at who's in your industry or like what your field is and going looking at their Wikipedias and trying
Mhm.
to connect with like maybe something that you can relate with them to, maybe trying to find a podcast that's in your area, maybe even finding a mentor, someone that you can help, that can help you, maybe a career coach or something like that, to help keep you motivated. I think those are really great ideas and different I would say resources that you can use to always stay motivated in 2019.
Exactly. I would totally agree with that.
Like that's just crazy when you're saying that, like thinking about all the different people who have paved the way or like they're still paving the way. I think that really does keep me motivated. And it's a different thing. Like it's not like, oh my gosh, like envious of them. Like don't follow people. Like even on Instagram, you can follow people that motivate you. It could be the pictures. It could be people getting things, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm so motivated to do that. I want to do this, and just I would say like follow people and like follow things that just keep your spirits like uplifted, and not like jealousy. So I think that would be some other tips that I would give if you're lacking motivation. Now, if you got the motivation down packed, that's amazing. That's good. I think it's great to stay motivated and great to look at the bigger picture. That's what me and Candace were saying that we kind of do. We have an end goal, and that's like what we want to do with that. So yeah. So I would say, thank y'all, for listening to this motivational piece. And oh my gosh, Candace, where can they follow you at on social media? Your Twitter or your podcast.
Yes, absolutely. So you can follow, I'm gonna give you all my, I guess like my personal Twitter because I feel like that's more exciting and you'll still get to my podcast from there. But my Twitter handle is at Candace House, just my name. So it's CANDACEHOWZE. And yeah, you can follow me. I'm always like reposting gifs and quotes and really funny memes. And I talk about my podcast on there too, so you can definitely check that out.
Yes, so make sure y'all check out her podcast. It will be in the description below. And thank you so much for joining me in this conversation about motivation. And don't forget to stay tuned for our words of wisdom. And have a great rest of your day or night, whatever you're listening to this. Bye.
Bye.
And last but not least, some words of wisdom. So we all know it's so hard when we see other people, um, I guess like getting their degrees or getting their jobs or getting their raises and things like that. Like it's so hard because you're like, oh my goodness, when is it gonna be my time? I just want to let y'all know to support, encourage, and uplift others because your time will come, and always be excited, Don't be down, don't be envious, or don't be jealous because your time is coming sooner or later. Hopefully, sooner rather than later. But my words of wisdom for this week would be strive hard, don't take a no for an answer, and be successful in whatever you do.